evening and welcome to the first in our series of celebrating 95, an insight into the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. The St. Lucia Cadet Corps is a paramilitary youth organization sponsored by the government of St. Lucia through the Ministry of Education and takes part in both paramilitary and community activities. Cadet can be traced its beginning in England in 1859 when there was a threat of an invasion by the French. The British Army was heavily involved abroad after the Indian Mutiny, and there were very few units in the country. Volunteers were formed to repel the possible invasion. History was to repeat itself in 1940 during World War II, when the Home Guard was formed in light of a threatened invasion by the German Army. As in 1859, the 1940 invasion did not materialize. The cadet movement, however, continued because many social workers and teachers saw in it a great value as an organization for the benefit of young boys. One of the most respected social workers at the time was Miss Octavia Hill, who realized that cadet training was of great benefit to boys, and as a result formed the Southwark Cadet Company to introduce boys of the area to the virtues of cleanliness, teamwork, and self-reliance. 70 years later, the cadet movement was introduced to St. Lucia on July 13, 1929, when a unit was established at St. Mary's College through the Ministry of Education, Schedule 64. Its formation was seen as significant, instilling the highest possible level of discipline and character building in the society. The cadets at the time were engaged mainly in drill and route marches, as well as attending national parades and camps. Fast forward to 2024. Allow me to reintroduce this great show celebrating 95 years, an insight into the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to this wonderful show. And just allow me to introduce my first guest, the Commandant of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, Colonel Nathan Hyacinth. Colonel, welcome to the show.
Yes, good night, Major Salzburg. Good night, fellow cadet officers, fellow cadets, parents, St. Lucia regional commandants, and our regional cadet family. Good evening to you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening to everybody. Colonel, you took over, you're the commandant of a great organization celebrating 95 years, and this is a milestone, and we can't wait for 100 things we have to plan for. You succeeded Mr. Colonel Lieutenant Colonel Andre Mathre.
Yes.
Tell us about that transition and about you becoming the commandant of such a great organization.
Yes, the Cadet Corps, as you say, as you rightfully said, I think it is one of the most esteemed organizations for young boys and girls. And I think what we stand for is that level of discipline and service to country. Yes, I did succeed after Colonel Andre Mathre, who was commandant for just about 9 years within the organization. We come from a long list of commandants. Colonel Mathre, after that period of time, we had this what we referred to as, well, stock-taking time of the organization. And I came in at that point in time when the organization really had to step back and look at its operations. Then we took over from what Colonel Mathre had already put in place for this organization. I was very fortunate to have been in that chair. I think I was chosen from a group of cadet officers and also a group of past cadet officers who came together under the direction of Dame Paulette Louisi, who then commissioned, as I said, when she said she commissioned, she put together this committee to look into who is going to lead the organization. And I was actually chosen by both groups. So my name was selected from both groups, and then she was quite happy, and she said it was the easiest job that she had at the time.
Great.
And to select me as commandant. One of our first tasks then was to go into the review of the cadet regulations and to look at areas where the Cadet Corps can be strengthened. And there is a report that was given by the committee. The committee was chaired by Dr. Danny Samuel.
Yes.
And we had a group of other cadet officers, from past cadet officers. The late Emerson Edwards was part of that grouping. They came together and they really went through the regulations and did some changes and look at some recommendations to the government at the time.
Good stuff. You've been commandant for how many years now?
It's going on to 9 years.
9 years.
Yes.
You would have stumbled on some great milestones as commandant. You mind sharing some of them with us?
Through that time, I think the cadet movement has grown so much from what it was then. Not that what we did back then was bad in any way, but we have looked at new ways of doing things. I think one of the blessings that we have had in disguise was the COVID. COVID did help us out, and even prior to COVID we started, but COVID just accelerated a lot of the things that we wanted to do. COVID made the region smaller, and we had to come in and find some way of reaching all our cadets who were not able to come together to training. And it brought us together in ways that we can't even explain. I think it was a blessing there. It also assisted us in reaching our brothers and sisters within the region. Okay. So therefore, a lot of training sessions could have happened online. So the officer cadre gained quite a bit. The cadets themselves, we had smaller cells where we put the cadets together online, but we've got to do a little bit more of that. And I think we need to learn from those lessons, and we need to keep it up and actually build on that. So yes, we've been working hard at that. I must say thank you to the officers of the Cadet Corps who assisted us in the development of what we have at our present headquarters, which we share at the Nemo compound. The officers did come together, and that's why I saw a lot of officers coming together, utilizing their skills, and they put the building together in its present state. And again, within that time, we saw a lot of friends. I always say we developed some godfathers around the region who helped us out with computers, who helped us out with uniforms and all other things. So we have other friends who really came out and assisted the Cadet Corps and to make us what we are today. You know, that beacon of light actually was there for us. I think we still have a lot going. Later on, as the discussion continues, we'll hear about the new projects that we have. Okay. But I will leave that for a little later on.
Well, I stood on the outside looking in, serving as ADC, not being totally involved in the direct running of the Corps, or even being involved too much as an officer. But I realize you've built during your tenure, built a good relationship with NEMO, yes, the police force, the Caribbean Cadet Association, and the Duke of Edinburgh program. Let's start with NEMO. That's a bond I mean that you'll have forged, and I realize you'll actually occupy almost the same space with them, and there's such a nice niche relationship going there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, being the type of organization that we are, which is paramilitary, and the way that we do things, especially in relation to disaster preparedness and disaster mitigation, we kind of fit hand in glove with NEMO, and we have lent our services as volunteers. We are one of the biggest group of volunteers that actually work with NEMO, and we kind of shadow most of their committees. So whether it is transportation, shelters, supplies, where the Cadet Corps actually is responsible for the supplies committee. Okay. So as the commandant, I sit in that chair as the chair of the supplies committee. So we are more responsible for getting equipment, getting food, whatever supplies that the country requires. We are responsible for receipt and distribution of those items.
Good. Just recently, there was Operation Unix in St. Lucia, and most times the police commissioner sometimes would have called upon St. Lucia Cadet Corps to assist in different areas. How is that relationship building? I know we have a wonderful commissioner at the moment, yes, who's willing, to join hands with everybody.
Yes, I think our relationship with the police have been growing, and it continues to grow. That our officers are able to assist them within their operation. So your next part was more of the training, and they were testing their training, and we were assigned to at least help them to test that training. So we assisted as they being difficult in certain areas to see how the officers respond and whatnot. But I must say, and I will continue to say, that the Cadet Corps should be seen as a resource pool for the security services. We don't do policing as an organization. However, what we've been doing with our cadets are those soft skills, the drill, the discipline, all of the other soft skills that we would have spent a lot more time on. What we were saying is that, listen, we're giving you an individual who has all of that. Spend less time with him, spend more time on the other aspect of policing.
Yes.
Okay, on that. And that goes not just for policing, that goes for all of the other security services as well.
But I see there's great kind of benefits right now coming out of this. Most of the top police officers, heading departments of the police force are actually cadets.
Yes.
You're talking about the Marine unit, you're talking about training school, those are the SSU department. Those are all cadets that were trained by us moving forward. And now it's I think it's a proud moment to know that the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, would have birthed a lot of those persons moving up the ranks, and the relationship can only get stronger and stronger going forward. The Cadet Caribbean Cadet Association, I know you're deeply involved in meeting once a year and forging better ties and streamlining, let's say, the uniformity of our training manual and all those kind of things. How is that coming along, and where you see it going forward in the future?
Oh, the Caribbean Association is growing, and we've been, what we use it really for is to give our cadets that a level of experience where they can go out. Many times, the first time of a cadet ever traveling is through the Cadet Corps, where they go throughout the region. St. Lucia, we boast really of being one of the, how you put it, it is the first of the Caribbean Cadet Camp. It used to be called, it used to be called OACS Camp. It used to, that other names, there's OACS. But once we turned to the Caribbean Camp, St. Lucia was the very first host in 1994 in Dennery. Yes, we hosted the very first camp. And then it was due to the work of then Major Roger Edoxy, was very instrumental in ensuring.
I was the training officer then.
Yes. I was a young officer at that time. And the camp, we've never hosted a Caribbean camp since then, because those camps are quite expensive. And there's a lot going into it. We have had the Commandant's Conference in St. Lucia a couple of times, but we have not hosted a Caribbean camp. We really do hope that for our 100th anniversary, that we can actually host.
Let's keep the 100th anniversary secrets to themselves. There's so much to happen, on that. The Duke of Edinburgh program, I know a lot of St. Lucians, you're carrying a pin.
Yes.
I think I have an honorary pin somewhere, and that's going very good in St. Lucia. A little more about that, and what are the challenges, if there are any, and the benefits to cadets following this program?
Well, there are lots of benefits to cadets joining the Duke of Edinburgh program. The program looks to develop young people and to give them a sense of community, to give them a sense of, of that national pride. They look to help individuals through service, all right, whether it's service to country, service to self, service to the whole region as a whole. I think it's very important where just like every item that is done within the Cadet Corps is available within the award program. And the award program can be used for the Corps to decorate our young cadets. So I am wearing a leadership badge.
Right.
The award programs gives them the opportunity to wear the gold, silver, and bronze. So as they develop throughout the program, there are a number of things that they got to do. From the physical things to the mental challenging things and to the other social activities that gets them into getting those medals. The award program is huge. This goes throughout the Commonwealth.
Right. Krista. Let me just let you all know that the St. Lucia Cadet Corps is all about, you know, the development of young boys and young girls at secondary schools. So I'll allow the colonel to talk to us a little bit more now about the actual programs. What does a cadet student go through from recruit stage moving up the ranks, and what type of programs do we offer? And I'm going to deal with that sometime later with the training officer at another show, but I just want you to give us a synopsis of, you know, what the cadets go through in their daily training.
Well, the cadet life starts when you join at secondary school. So you enter secondary school at age 11. And you start what we refer to as our recruitment programs. Our recruitment program usually goes on for a period of about 3 months. And after you have done your recruitment program, then we move into what we refer to as the star level programs. So on an annual basis, that's how it was. You would have been able to do star 1 when you finished Form 1 to Form 2, star 2, star 3, master cadet. After that, and then you could develop into whether it is the adult wing, and then probably progress into the officer cadre after. But the cadet themselves will look at things like drill, being able to move as a body of men on a parade square. Now, drill is not only in a parade square. I mean, you could do drill in almost any environment. So then we do things like field craft, how to be able to move out in the countryside. We do navigation, one of the most interesting subjects that I find, being able to use maps and compasses and to be able to find things and find your way around in the countryside and whatnot. Then we teach them, we have them disciplines to understand. Because we are a paramilitary organization, yes, we do handle weapons, but then we train as if everything else, you go through a whole year training of safety before you could even handle a weapon in any way. Marksmanship principles are something that we do teach our young cadets. But safety is something that's very important to us. So we've got lots of rules and procedures in all of our activities that really thinks about safety first. Of late, what we've been trying to do is to get more activities for our young cadets. So just recently there was a nice course in self-defense, the first aid. We've been trying hard to get the swimming aspect of things sorted out. We're having a bit of a little challenge in that areas, but we're working on that, and we're hoping to get the swimming aspect done. With the Sea Cadets, which was launched in January, those cadets, the small unit of cadets, I think there were just about 10 of them, they will be starting off the whole aspect of understanding the sea, understanding boats, understanding the life of a marine cadet. So that is a new aspect for us, and we're developing that. Training has started, and we have a group of them who are going on nicely with that. I must commend the officers who are dedicated to that.
Do you see the police marine unit assisting at all with the growth of that unit?
Oh yes, indeed. We have had conversations with the Marine Commander, who's indicated that he is very willing to assist the Cadet Corps. We've had assistance from regional cadet forces and corps who are sending us information, and they're waiting for us to really to start the real branch of the training. So hopefully our cadets may be traveling to places like Barbados, to St. Vincent, closer to us, who do have sea cadets and marine cadets. Yeah. And we're looking to at least to see how we can expose our cadets to more things. I mean, we're an island, and our cadets should be able to have some experience of marine life.
Yeah. Speaking to a government official recently, and I think he traveled, I think, to Canada, no names mentioned, and he said that he observed cadets, the cadets doing flight school now. Oh, yes. And people get confused with that and think, oh, cadets are going to go and fly planes. But a lot of the flight schooling right now you have, even in the military, is a lot to do with piloting drones. And I know a lot of our cadets are well trained right now, even as instructors, in piloting drones and stuff like that. Do you see this as a shift in the Cadet Corps, maybe assisting the police in the drone flights for security purposes, or even, you know, just assisting NEMO and different organizations if we open a flight unit, an air unit, nothing to do with flying a plane, but drones have taken over everything these days in the management of our communities.
Well, St. Lucia has not gotten there yet. Although we have a couple of officers who have done the training for drone flying, but the aviation cadets have been around for a while. More places like Trinidad and Jamaica, who have had larger units for aviation. Jamaica, I know, has their own aircraft, although I think there was a little issue with the aircraft recently. But I know they have their own aircraft, Trinidad as well. The cadets do through simulations and other things. Maybe one day we will get there, but for now we have just started again. So we have the infantry, and then we have the Sea Cadets, which we've just started.
Good. Kind of looking at personal development, right now we're troubled with a lot of youngsters. And I know most of us can be, we can be proud of saying we went through the ranks, and that kept us away from, going astray. Do you see the Cadet Corps as an organization that the Ministry of Education can start targeting students and say, hey, one day even make it mandatory? If you go for a secondary school, you do a year or two of cadetting to actually put you on the straight and narrow, because personal development, most of us, St. Lucia is proud to say that a lot of people in major positions in this country went through the Cadet Corps, and they pride themselves on saying, cadetting did that to me. Do you see the cadets playing a more effective role with our slightly troubled society where young boys and young girls are going in the other direction as opposed to living this whole disciplined life?
Indeed, I think the Corps sees itself as part of the solution that we have with our youth, and based on the things that we do, I think it would help the situation. Idle minds, idle hands is the devil's workshop.
Yes,
and once we keep our children active and to have them to do something very constructive, I think it's going to help them. Some of the things that we look at, what comes out of that cadet. If you look at an individual, the cadet movement gives you, you start to understand what timeliness is about. You start to look at the discipline. Now, when you look at discipline really and truly is about how is it that we conduct ourselves in our day-to-day actions. So discipline starts from the time you wake up in the morning. What do you do? The first thing that you do in the morning, do you keep those habits, the habits that you develop? And ones are good habits, brushing your teeth, making your bed. I listened to a program, a speech given by a retired admiral, and the entire speech started about making your bed in the morning, and how much discipline that is, that you can get from simply making your bed. All right. We look at things like time management, conflict resolution. We look at report writing. Some of those skills are required in the field of work. And if you have an individual who is trained in that area, who is able to help out, or to show the employer, listen, I will be on time, I will come to work on time, I respect authority, okay, because you recognize that there's that hierarchical thing at work. We can continue to develop and to show our business places that, listen, yes, if you get an individual who was a cadet, that individual is an additional edge from someone else who was not in an organization like ours, and that individual can give you more within your
like
business.
Recently, the National Trust wanted individuals to, let's say, police the whole national park just to keep it safe from fires, from people smoking, and they specifically says we want cadets because cadets know what to do and they know better. A while ago we spoke about what the cadets at secondary school would normally go through. I'm just nobody, and I want to be an officer. I'm not at school. What is the path, let's say, to a normal St. Lucian becoming an officer of this great organization that we belong to?
Yeah, it's interesting you ask that. You see, what the public normally sees, the first thing the public sees when they see a cadet, they normally see cadets during disaster time.
Yeah.
And that is only one aspect of cadetting. Cadetting is really actually working with the boys and the girls and to develop them into being productive citizens. So if you come into an organization, you must come in understanding that, listen, you must or you will have to work with the young boys and girls and to help mentor them and to help keep them on that track. You may not know all of the military training, all of the military subjects, but we will introduce you to all of them, where you will be able to understand what goes on, and so you can oversee training that goes on throughout the unit. So you can manage the various units. Our interest is really working at the 22 schools that we operating at, and to get people at those schools to work with those children. There's room for growth within this organization. At the moment, we just about just under 700 cadets. So we continue to grow. We had last year, January, we were very proud to see 400 cadets. Mindo Philip Park was literally too small to hold all of the platoons.
Let me just stop you there for a while, because that was my next question. And I wanted to ask you, as a cadet commandant, because I mean, we've been a cadet corps for a while.
Yeah.
And last year, I mean, I attended that parade, you know, and I don't know, how did you feel being the commandant of the biggest parade ever of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps?
Well, for me, that day was the best day. It was the best day ever because it actually happened on my birthday. So It was my birthday. It was the largest parade. We paraded through Cashews with 400 cadets. I had 400 cadets singing happy birthday to me in Derek Walcott Square. I think it was one of the best things ever as the commandant. I felt extremely proud. I felt very happy, not just for me. I look at the officers who worked hard in order to get in those cadets on parade. I was very thankful to as I said, one of our godfathers, Mr. St. Lucian, Henry Patterson,
yes,
who worked very hard with me and the rest of the officers who get the uniforms. And he was one saying, listen, Colonel Hyacinth, we'll get the uniforms to those cadets. And he's in Canada. He's actually a cadet. He was recently promoted to captain in cadets in Canada. And he, being a St. Lucian, felt it necessary to see how is it that he can assist his community in St. Lucia while he's in Canada. And he gave us plenty of uniform in order to have that parade going. So yes, that parade was a very big milestone for the Cadet Corps, and we were hoping to have another big parade. Our parade for this year, actually, you'll head through when you meet our other guests, but our parade for this year is going to be in Soufrière, and we're the camp is the closing of our camp, where the next commandant's parade is going to be. Those parades actually should have been, we should have those parades 3 times a year. And we're hoping to display to St. Lucia, listen, cadetting is alive and well. And we are growing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Before we go into, I think we have a break to take in a while, and before we go there, I just want to ask you, I said I was the master of ceremony at your last commandant's parade,
yes,
at your parade. And I did say that it was a unique time in our lives when we have a head of state, Governor General, who's really much interested in cadetting. We have a Prime Minister, the Minister of Education, who is all in for cadetting. Yes. We have Senior Minister Stevenson King, who has made a lot of promises. Are you taking advantage of those things and making sure that we will? I know we have a headquarters, building that was actually handed on a platter. It's just for us to do something with it. How do you feel about it, and what are the plans for, tapping into all those resources to make sure the Cadet Corps benefits fully?
I must say that over the last few years it's been moving forward, and that's support by our minister, who has given us his blessings, and he's working forward with it, and he asked us to go on some aggressive recruitment drives, seeing the amount of cadets coming out, seeing the amount of people who actually, at that parade that year was where it actually rained, and the cadets came out in the rain. He was very proud about that. I think I'm happy that our Prime Minister, Senior Minister, has been working with us really, and he was the one very at the forefront in helping us get the new cadet headquarters. We'll soon be launching a new building and also a new camping area for uniform youth groups. So very soon you will have that launching will come on, where it has been a hard time getting camping areas for our uniform youth groups. So we'll be talking a whole lot more about that and seeing the development of the area So they have given that to the Cadet Corps. The building itself is what we're going to look at, not just the Cadet Corps, but I think we want to look at a leadership center, let's put it this way, for uniform youth groups. I think we need to develop our young children, and we need to look at how is it that we help them to become leaders of tomorrow. I think we have to be able to come together. St. Lucia is small. Our resources are not always, not that every organization is going to have a plot of land in St. Lucia, but if we can get somewhere where we can all share it, and if the Cadet Corps can lead that and to help to organize all of the other groups and to keep them together. I think most of these groups are kind of dying out, and we need to bring them back in. I will always be an advocate for cadetting, but I'm also an advocate for the uniform youth groups. I think they perform a very important task in the development of our children. I think we should help them out. So the scouts, the guides, we need to get them to start growing and to show that, listen, our youngsters can move on.
We're going to go for a break, and after that break, I'm going to put some targeted questions about your cadet quarters and your vision for it, and also we're going to discuss some activities for our 95th anniversary. We'll take a short break. So I know we said I was going to ask you some target questions about the headquarters building. We're going to have a special show just for that, because I know you have a lot of plans and we need to put it together. At this point in time, I just want us to listen to, we are celebrating 95, so we did get some congratulatory messages from ex-cadets. So we'll let you just view that right now and talk about it a little later.
Sergeant Mark here from the Bermuda Police Service. I'm former member of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. I would first like just wish all the members of the Corps a happy 95th anniversary. That I myself spent about 10 years actively. I never officially resigned, so I still consider myself a cadet. And I must say the motto of leadership, discipline and service has rung through my entire career as a police officer, which spanned over 27 years now, and I credit the service for all that I've achieved, both personally and professionally. So I'd just like to wish you guys all the best, and make sure the Corps just lives on.
Good afternoon. My name is Sub Officer 385 Fenelon from the St. Lucia Fire Service, and I must say that being a cadet throughout my youthful days at secondary school has impacted a lot in my discipline throughout my entire life, and so I believe I have reaped the rewards so far.
Hello, my name is Vern Nelson, and I would like to extend advanced anniversary greetings to the past and present members of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. Wishing you all the best as you continue to work on the development of the youth of St. Lucia. I joined the St. Lucia Cadet Corps in 1983, and it was one of the best decisions I could have made, because it has allowed me to forge wonderful friendships that continue till today, and also instilled in me the discipline which has allowed me to become the person that I am. I would encourage all young people, especially those just entering secondary school, high school, to consider it as one of the first choices in clubs, organizations that they would want to join, because it really does benefit tremendously. All the best, SLCC, and wishing you many more years of success.
There you have it. The St. Lucia Cadet Corps produces great men and women. And in our shows down the road, we're going to be playing some of those congratulatory messages, you know, just so we can celebrate. CEO, we're going to run out of time. Good things do, you know, absorb a lot of time. Tell us a little bit about the plans to celebrate 95.
Well, the celebration actually started with our Seals Parade in January, and we're moving into other activities. We're looking at a drill competition which is supposed to come up very soon. We're hoping that if we can perfect this drill competition, maybe by next year we may come to a national independence drill competition. We could have it then. Our camp area, we're going to be camping in Soufre this year. We're hoping that cadets do participate in that. We have a group of cadets who are actually going to be participating in a training camp in Trinidad. So a group is being prepared for that. We recently hosted a contingent during the Easter period of cadets from Trinidad. They were camping in St. Lucia for that week. And so a group of our cadets are now moving across to Trinidad this summer. There is no Caribbean camp this year, so just regional travels. We're really hoping that we could have invited other cadets from the region onto our camps. It didn't happen this time around, but I'm hoping that come next year we would be in a position financially to be able to bring in more cadets. Camping is expensive, and we have to be able to make up the funding for that. This year you would have seen cadets who will go out with sponsorship cards. Those sponsorship cards is to help out with the entire summer program. Last year, when we traveled across to Jamaica, the cadets were able to, we used the sponsorship cards, and also we were thankful to corporate society, which helped our cadets to make the journey to Trinidad, and also for us to participate in the Commandant's Conference. The summer program last year, which had our summer camp, the Jamaica trip with our cadets, and also the Commandant's Conference. I mean, just for an idea, this came up to $164,000, which we, the cadets, the parents, and corporate society was able to help sponsor that. We're hoping that this year, well, some of corporate society already has agreed to assist the group going across to Trinidad. We yet to receive the funds, but they have agreed to assist us there. They have agreed also to give us assistance in some other areas. Our new headquarters is one area that some people have already shown interest in helping us out with, and we are very thankful for them for coming in. I think our organization, as with everything else, is growing, and I think people are starting to look at the benefits of the organization. And surprisingly, what we're looking at now, which is a bit worrying for me as a young man, we look at the ratio of cadets and people who have more interest in the cadets. In the past, it used to be something like 80-20% male, female, and I must tell you that the ratio of female participation has been increasing, so we're almost at 50-50%.
So that's in everything right now.
Yes, and so I'm worrying what's happening to our young men, and I want to see and make a plea for our young boys to start picking up on this. We need to start paying attention to our young men, because our men are in crisis, and we need to be able to spend some time with them.
Quickly, CEO, cadet officers give a lot of their time. We just volunteer our time. We don't get a salary. We don't, and let me just apologize for not asking a couple of questions sent by retired Lieutenant Romeo Michel. Captain, sorry. We're going to do that the next time. We're going to spend a lot of time on that. But what we used to pride ourselves on looking forward to. There's just one event we had a year for cadet officers. It's Cadet Officers Dinner. Is that part of the celebrations, and what is coming to? Because that is, I mean, as a young cadet, I look forward just 1 year. That's the only time of the year we celebrate the work of the hard work and volunteering of cadet officers.
Okay. What we had traditionally as our Christmas dinner, we're no longer doing that Christmas dinner in the sense of how it was before. But we have transformed it to have what it will be a social evening for the officers around the Christmas season, where the dinner used to be. And we have moved the dinner now to anniversary time. So around the anniversary time, there's going to be a dinner not only for the officers. The dinner is for all persons who are all our corporate members, all the persons who have come in to assist our organizations, all for the parents, for everybody else who come together. It's at a cost. It's also part of a little fundraiser at the same time, but it is going to bring in everybody and to say thank you to everybody for giving service to the organization. That is going to happen as part of our anniversary celebrations as well. Okay. So we're looking forward to that coming in July.
CEO, I don't know, you will have to speak to your wife and family. We have to bring you back, because you know there's a lot for us to discuss. I think there's a lot to go. But finally, from you, I want to talk to those students out there, talk to the boys, the girls about the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, and to appeal to them the importance of signing up at our secondary schools, because look at us. We are who we are today because of cadetting. Most of their prime ministers in St. Lucia who went through the Cadet Corps. They're lawyers, they're doctors, police officers, people in the army, even holding some senior ranks right now. I'm hearing in foreign armies who went through the ranks of the Cadet Corps. So I'll allow you the final word, to make an appeal to the youngsters of St. Lucia.
Yes, thank you much for that. I think it's very important that we as youth leaders be able to show that example to our youngsters and how they grow up. And we also need to encourage them to, have a vision, see why they want to do things. I know why I joined the Cadet Corps back in 1985. That was, I joined after I witnessed Hurricane Allen. And for me, it was service. I was attracted to service. And when I saw what the cadets were doing after the hurricane, I said, I want to do that. And immediately upon signing up at St. Mary's College, I did join up the St. Mary's College unit. And I think that did help me out quite a bit. Physically, I remember when I started, I wasn't able to do 5 push-ups. Within the first couple of weeks, I started doing 10, then 20, and as the weeks progressed, and by the time we were doing recruits, we had to be able to do 100 push-ups.
I have a few photographs of you. I'm going to show them next show.
Yeah, I had to be able to do 100 push-ups by the time we finished. And as the time goes by, that level of discipline did come in. We have some real proud moments of youngsters coming up. I can give you an example of recently, last year. We have a young boy who was very shy. He really did not want to join cadets. His mom really wanted him to be exposed to an organization like this. He was giving her a hard time. And my adjutant and myself sat with him and we spoke with him, tried to, coax him in joining the organization. We pleaded with him. We asked him to give it a try. And every time I see him now, I see him in uniform. That was in September last year. Mm-hmm. And when I see him in uniform still, I said yes. And he's so happy. I see him so proud. I see him moving around. He's actually as part of other celebrations and other activities, flag raising ceremonies. I noticed I saw him at one of the flag raising ceremonies. And I was very happy to see him still there. Every time I see him, I think that's a success story. That we were able to convince this young man who really did not see the benefits at the time. And now he is still there. All right, so I think this organization really and truly can work wonders for our youngsters. And as I said earlier, we see ourselves as part of the solution to the ills of our society. So I would definitely encourage our parents. You see, first we have to sell to our parents and then we sell to the youngsters. So I would definitely say to our parents that yes, give the Cadet Corps the opportunity to work with the young boys and girls.
Thank you very much, Commandant of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, Colonel Nathan Harrison. My name is Major Cyril Saldibus. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having us in your space for this short moment. We're going to be with you next Wednesday, where I will have another guest, or I will trickle again and ask the Commandant to be back again, because we have a lot more to discuss. But as we build this momentum up to our 95th anniversary, we want you to be with us every Wednesday, where we share inspiring stories with you and cause young boys, young girls to take this decision to sign up as members of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. Once again, good evening to everybody. Commandant, disrespectful if I can't let you say the last good evening to everybody.
Yes, good evening everybody, and thank you for having me again in your space. And I do hope that you continue to give the trust to the organization as we expected.
Thank you very much.
Looking for a professional service to stream your upcoming events to your social media platforms seamlessly?